What's up, Rebel fans? This is the Rebellion Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Staker. I'm back. I was gone for a little while. I had to do a little, I did a dopamine detox you're supposed to do it for like 30 days, and I did it for 10 days. So better than nothing, I suppose. So yeah, I kind of avoided technology for a while, avoided caffeine as much as I could, anything that I'm addicted to. So, but I'm back. And my last episode, I was in high spirits. We had just come off two massive victories. A win over number 22 ranked Utah State at home, and then a unbelievably awesome road win over one of the teams I hate the most, San Diego State, on their home court, which was unbelievably satisfying. We only win on San Diego State. We have only won on San Diego State's home court 3 times since Lon Kruger. I don't even know if Lon Kruger won at San Diego State. He might have, like, once, but it's rare, is my point. So before I get into all my thoughts about everything going on with UNLV basketball right now, which, isn't high thoughts, isn't the most positive, but I'll try not to vent and get too emotional talking about them. But it's hard, though, with the Rebels. It's hard. So I'm going to talk about a few other things for a little bit. I do that sometimes on this podcast. I talk about unrelated things that annoy me, something going on in the real world, whatever. So, first of all, there's this huge delusion out there among young men or teens thinking they're going to make it to the NBA or NFL or just becoming a professional athlete in general. This delusion is worse than people think. Trust me. Not just because I know because I'm around these players. I played college ball. I coached at a high level. So I know how these players think. But there's also like actual statistics. So this blew my mind. They did a survey of, it was basically 18, 19-year-old college players at all levels, D1, D2, D3, NAIA. They surveyed like 1,000 of them. Do you think you will make it to the NBA? 90% of them said yes. That's not confidence. That's not believing in yourself. That is delusion. It's like, why can't people just be honest with them? Unless you're 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan and a 40-inch vertical, you don't have the natural born talent. You don't have the minimal level of talent required to even have a chance to play at that level. So why are they so delusional? I played at a junior college in Arizona, Central Arizona College. It was my sophomore year. I remember I had a class with a lot of my teammates, and a big question we had to ask was, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And these are 18, 19-year-olds, right? My one teammate said, I want to be an NBA All-Star. Not just make it to the NBA. He said, I want to be an NBA All-Star. And I'm kind of looking at my friend like, is this guy serious? He's a 6'3" small forward with a 27-inch vertical. And he weighs like 120 pounds soaking wet. But he's going to somehow make it to the NBA. Where does this confidence come from? It's like, confidence is good, but then there's a difference between confidence and delusion, right? I also teach a substance abuse program with Clark County School District. I've talked about it on the show a little bit before, but anyone who gets caught in school with something they're not supposed to have, or they're under the influence, or they have contraband, whatever, anything related to drugs, they have to take my class. And one of the things we do is, what's your plans for the future? What do you want to do as a career? What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do to make money? And you'll be shocked how many times a kid says, I want to play in the NFL, or I want to play in the NBA. I'm like, all right, so are you on your school team right now? Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, so you're 17, you don't play for your school team, you just play like street ball? Yeah, sometimes. Oh, and you're smoking weed. So, but your plan is to make it to the NFL. Never mind the talent aspect of it. Like if you don't have you already don't have the talent to make it to that level. regardless of your work ethic. But these kids that say that they're going to make it to the pros, they don't even have the work ethic to make it to the pros. Guys 10 times more talented than them don't make it to the pros because they don't have the work ethic. You have to work extremely hard, extremely hard. So it's crazy. There's this image. A lot of people probably seen it because it was on social media. But odds of making it to the NFL, and it's really interesting. So I'm going to read it. So there are, roughly 1.8 million high school football players, about 310,000 high school football seniors, 70,000 NCAA football players. Let's see, percentage of players to the NCAA. So 6.5%. So 6.5% of all high school players make it to the NCAA. That's 15,000 seniors. Players scouted by the NFL, 6,500. Okay, you can see where I'm going with this, right? 350 are invited to the combine. Players drafted by the NFL, 256. Rookies making a team, 300. Percentage of players in the NCAA to the NFL, 1.6%. Only 1.6% of college football players make it to the NFL. And just getting a college scholarship is extremely difficult. That's what these kids don't realize. NFL players reaching year 4, 150. 2014 NFL minimum salary, $420,000. Income after taxes estimated $252,000. So if you're lucky enough to be one of the 6.5% to become an NCAA football player and one of the 1.5% of that group to make it to the NFL, you'll be lucky to get 3 years out of it. At a minimum salary, you won't make enough to live on for the rest of your life. So what's going to provide for you and your family after football is over? Your college education. So it's hard for me, though, when I say, what do you want to do when you grow up, to a 16-year-old and they say, I want to play in the NFL. It's hard for me to say, stop. Come up with something else. Because I don't want to be that guy who's crushing their dream and everyone's like, oh my gosh, how could you? You got to prove him wrong. No, I want to say it, though. I want to be just stop. You're not making it to the NFL. Pick a new path. Just do it right now. How many Division I offers do you have? None. You don't even play for your high school team. You're not making it to the NFL. You're not making it to the NBA. So just stop. All right, we'll see. Yeah, that's just more motivation. Whatever. You're just gonna go smoke weed after this. So it's crazy, the delusion that these young men have. It's unbelievable. So I was watching this video, and this is an unrelated topic to what I was just talking about. And there's this guy explaining why it's impossible for the megalodon to still exist. If you don't know what the megalodon is, it's a prehistoric shark that was 50 to 80 feet long, and they think it looked kind of like a great white. That's kind of what, if you Google megalodon, it looked like a giant great white shark. And this is a real shark that lived for thousands and thousands of years, maybe millions. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. And it went extinct about 50 million years ago. And there's a large population of people out there that believe this thing is still living in the oceans. And their reason is because only 5% of the ocean's been discovered. Actually, it's only 20% has now been discovered. It's actually 20% now. The only thing that hasn't been discovered is the depths, where it's really cold water, where the megalodon could not live. It could not survive. People are like, how do you know that? How do you know that a shark that's 50 million years old can't live in the depths of the cold water? I don't know that. Scientists do, and I trust their opinion over some dummy who's telling me that the megalodon is still alive. I don't know. They know this stuff. This is their careers. They study it their whole lives. They know this stuff. But just common sense. Just use common sense, please. If the megalodon, a giant 60, 70-foot shark, was still alive, you would find evidence of it. You would find whales washed up on the beach with giant bite marks taken out of them. You would find teeth that aren't 50 million years old, that they're a year old. There would be so much evidence that this thing still lives. Same with Bigfoot. There's over a million people that in the United States that truly believe that Bigfoot is out there. They would find something. They would find poop. They would find hair. They would find something. And I think they just want to believe it. They don't want to hear that it's not true. It's just the way their brain works is they have to believe everything. Every conspiracy they have to believe. Loch Ness Monster, they just have to believe it. There was another one thing I wanted to rant about or go on about, but I'm already 10 minutes in, so I'm going to skip that one. Okay, so let's talk about UNLV basketball. It's kind of funny. Um, I titled my last episode, "This team is who I thought they were." It was a little clickbaitish. I just thought people would see that and click on it. It's just true. I got a lot of downloads on that episode, and I think people were also in high spirits. But it also made me look dumb following the next two games where we lost two home games to Wyoming, and then we lost a home game to a team that we never lose to, New Mexico. New Mexico is very good. They're the best team in the conference, arguably. But still, we never lose to them, so I didn't think we would. So, yeah, that made me look silly. And, I saw comments, stuff out there like, this team is who I thought they were, like, basically taking a shot at me, which wasn't bothered by at all. It didn't bother me one bit. I was like, yeah, you're right. I was wrong. If you actually listen to that episode, though, it's not like I was very clear that, yeah, this was two big wins, but I'm not insinuating that I was right about this team all along. I'm not insinuating that now we're awesome. I was right. We're going to the tournament. Everything's great. No. I said these wins were exciting, but we're still inevitably not making the tournament, and we're going to very most likely have a new coach next year. I still said that. But if you just look at the title of my episode, yeah, obviously I look silly. I look silly saying this team is who I thought they were. I don't regret anything. I live in the moment. I do. So if I'm in a good mood, I'm going to be more optimistic about what I'm saying about this team. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to be a little more ranty, a little more negative. That's just how my brain works. Yeah, so it sucks. Those losses were very depressing. I'm still very depressed about it. Deon Thomas missing the game-tying free throw. I feel for him. That sucks. I've been there. I've made the game-winning free throw. I've made the game-winning shot. It feels amazing. And I've also missed the shot that would have won the game. I've missed the free throw that would have tied or won the game. I've been there, and not at the level of Deon Thomas, where who knows? I don't know how many people were watching that game. 100,000. I don't know. At a lower level of college, but again, I know what that feels like, and it really sucks. You feel like you let your team down, no matter how good you played that game. One sad realization I had to come to is Deon Thomas is not the best point guard in the Mountain West. That's definitely Donovan Dent. He's unbelievable. Before the season, I was annoyed at people thinking that Dent was better than Thomas. And I truly believed it. It wasn't even like a bias. It was a little bit of a bias. Let's be honest. But it was Deon Thomas as a true freshman that was supposed to still be in high school was like so clutch. He had his best games against the toughest teams, the toughest competition. He would go off. He did this just so many unreal things. So I just assumed he would blow up his sophomore year with all this experience and just be a superstar. Yes, he's 100% our best player. Yes, he's a top, I don't know, 7 or 8 player in the Mountain West still. He's just not at that elite superstar level that I thought he would be, which is a little disappointing. But he's still so young. He's still so young. It could be his junior year where he blows up. It'll probably end up being for another team. This is what my unrealistic hope is. Somewhat unrealistic. I wouldn't say it's impossible. We get a new coach. Harper brings in a name that people can really get behind. Like, okay, this is a good hire. I'm really feeling positive about the direction of the program. We did what we were supposed to do. We put some money together and we brought in a good coach. We brought in a coach that a lot of schools would love to have, that wish they could have, right? So we bring in a fairly big name. It's not going to be a Dan Mullen equivalent name. That's just not going to happen. But a good hire, let's say. I don't know who right now. There's a lot of names being thrown out there. I don't have a favorite yet. I think once the season over and Kruger's gone, then I'll get more into who I would like to be our coach. The for sure things are harder to get, right? They just cost a lot more. But when you get the guys that kill it at a lower level, at a lower school, they made the tournament and they won 26 games, whatever. Those are if they do really well at your school, then they just get poached again. They just keep going up, right? Because they get more money, they want more fame, they want more challenges, right? So Get it, like best case scenario is like a basketball equivalent of Dan Mullen if we were to get that. But let's say we do bring in a really good coach that we can get behind that we like, and Deon Thomas is like, you know what, this is a good coach. We're going to be good. I'm going to stay. So I would say that's the best case scenario is we bring in a good coach, and it's not unrealistic to think that we can't. Look what Harper's done with football. Okay, he's done an unbelievable job with football. And if he's responsible for what he did with football and then also revitalizing the basketball program, bringing the basketball program, a sleeping giant, back to where it should be, if he's responsible for that, build him a statue next to Tark, I swear to God. He did something that no athletic director has ever been able to do in decades, and that was make UNLV football nationally relevant. Okay, that alone makes him a legend, right? And if he did this, if he brought basketball out of the coma, because we're going on 10 plus years now of disappointment. If he's able to bring us back, legend. And I don't see how every athletic department in the country who needs an athletic director wouldn't want him. Because he's an absolute legend if he can bring basketball back. Because he didn't hire Kruger. Desiree Reed Francois, or whatever her name is, she hired Kevin. She was on her way out, and it was the easy hire. There was no pressure on her because she knew she was leaving. So it didn't matter who she hired, because if they didn't do well, no one was going to really care because she's at another school. So all she had to care about was what she was doing at her next school, which I think she's gone to like 2 schools since then. I think she went to Missouri, and now she's at Arizona, or I don't know. But she liked Kevin. She had a relationship with Kevin. There's the whole connection with his dad, and she thought people would be happy about the hire because he's a former player. So that was the easy hire. It was easy. It wasn't going to cost a lot of money because he's someone that has to prove themselves. Harper is not going to let this happen again. He's not. He's going to get someone who, at the very least, it's going to be an Otzelberger situation where it's a guy who killed it at a lower level, who was a head coach. He's not going to bring in an assistant coach. He's just not. He's going to make a good hire. I am very confident. Now the question becomes, if we do turn it around and have a good team finally next season, will the fans come back? I would say yes, but not to the full extent of where it was in 2012 with the Rebellion and Mozilla and ChemCong, which was awesome. Like we had an amazing student section just like 12 years ago. And we had an awesome atmosphere. We sold games out. Man, it's just so depressing what this program has become. So depressing. And the few fans that are left, they're still there rooting this team on. Here's the thing. This is why I think fans will come back. There's a lot of fans that still care, but they're so mad about the state of the program. They're so mad about everything that's happened in the last decade that they don't even go. They don't want to go to the games because it just upsets them. They don't have fun. The team struggles against crappy teams. They just mental health sake, they don't go. Now, if you want to call them crappy fans, that's fine. Sure, that you can call them that. I know a lot of people that they still care. They still check the scores. They still want the Rebels to do well, but they just don't go to the games because they don't have fun. You know what? I don't have fun at most of those games. I don't. The team struggles every game I go to. They struggle. It hurts my head. So I get it, but I have to continue to support this team. I can't have a podcast and not watch the games. That would be pretty silly. No one would care about what I have to say. So yeah, so there's a lot of those fans out there. Let's say there's 5,000 average that go no matter what, 5,000 diehards, right? And then I'd say there's another 5,000 that 100% will show up if we're good. Okay? Now it's the people that used to be a fan but completely bailed on the program, that they're just like diehard Golden Knights fans now. And I love the Golden Knights. I'm a Golden Knights fan. I partied my ass off when they won the Stanley Cup. Though it does kind of suck how much they kind of contributed to killing UNLV basketball. That part sucks. My love for them dwindles a tad when it's a big UNLV basketball game, and there's a Golden Knights game at the same time, because I know the people, there's so many people that used to care about UNLV basketball that are going to be 100% focused on that Golden Knights game and not on the Rebels. That hurts my heart a little bit. It does, because Golden Knights, they don't need more fans. The Golden Knights are good. They have a ton of fans. I see Golden Knights gear everywhere I go, even in other states. Go to Disneyland. There's a 100% chance you'll see someone wearing Golden Knights gear. They have a plenty of fans. The UNLV basketball, we need as many fans as we can get. It helps us win games. We have one of the worst home court advantages in the Mountain West. It's a pathetic home court advantage. And Kruger has not been good at all at home, and that's one of the top main reasons, if not the number one reason, he's going to get fired. And that, and the fact that the Thomas and Mack is a ghost town. Okay, so I forget where I was going with this. I just start talking and I go in different directions. But, so there's also going to be fans that jump on the bandwagon. Not the fans that I was talking about before who still care that they just don't go to the game, because you could technically call that bandwagon. I'm talking about the ones that completely don't think about the UNLV basketball program, don't pay attention. They have no clue what our record is, but they used to, a decade or 15 years ago. Those ones, there's going to be about 2,000, 3,000 of those who jump back on the bandwagon and will go to games. So I do think, at the very least, if we have a good team, and by good team, I don't mean Kruger's second year where we started off 10-0 playing nobody. I mean actually we're making noise nationally. We're in the rankings. We're beating nationally ranked teams. We're being projected to be a 3 seed, 4 seed, 5 seed. I mean, that level of good team. That's what it would take. Okay, anything below that is not going to bring the fans back. If we have that level of a good team, let's say what like Utah State has been the last few years. If we get to that level, yeah, I do think we will be back to 13, 14, 15,000 at a big game. And then the average will be down, will probably be around, it'll start off low, obviously, and then it'll build. Towards the end of the season, though, the average will be back around 10,000, I think. The reason I'm talking about this is I keep hearing people say it's done, it's never coming back. It's going to take 10 years to get the fans back. I don't think it'll take 10 years. All it takes is one exciting team. That's it. If we sign some freshman who ends up being way better than everyone thought they'd be, and now they're projected lottery pick, they're averaging 25 a game, that alone would get people interested to want to go watch the Rebels. Okay, it's not going to take 10 years. My brother-in-law keeps saying we should go play at the Henderson Arena. I forget the name of it. Where the Silver Knights play. He's like, we should just play all our games there. It's just too quiet in here with the lack of fans. I'm like, I get what you're saying, but no, I'm not going to just give up that bad on this program that we should go play in this tiny little pathetic arena. No. So, all right, with all that being said, the rest of the season is going to go, it's going to be very easy to predict. I'm telling you right now, we're going to win some big games. We're going to win at Reno, or we're going to win at New Mexico. We're going to win home against Boise. We're going to win some big games, but we're also going to lose a lot of games. We'll realistically, from here on out, probably go 50-50. It's maybe 60-40 win to loss in our favor, maybe. We'll finish 5th, 6th place. If we're lucky, we'll win our first round game. That in itself would be an accomplishment. But we don't even ever win that. I think Air Force is the only team we've beaten in the tournament in the last decade. So embarrassing. God. Oh, it's so embarrassing what this program has become. But I know we're going to be good again someday. I know it. I'm very confident. We're going to be good again someday. Just UNLV football is the reason why I'm so confident. People would laugh at me if I said, "Oh, UNLV football is going to be nationally relevant in a year or two." You'll see with Barry Odom. They would fall on the ground laughing. So all it takes is the right coach, and then a good administration, a good athletic director who actually cares about winning, who actually cares about sports. And we have one now. We have one. So we will be back. Football and basketball will be good. It's going to take some sustained success if we want to get invited to a big conference, but I'm feeling good about the future, despite how bad it's going right now with UNLV basketball. I am very optimistic for the future. So I'm going to release another episode soon. getting more into UNLV football, and because that's fun to talk about, right? Someone did a projected starting lineup for UNLV football, just a way too early projection, and every player was so talented. They're either so talented or they killed it at another school, right? And I was just like thinking of the potential we could have with that team, and it's fun to think about. So, all right, Rebel fans, thanks for listening, and talk soon.